Howdy everyone, welcome to Misano. This week's track guide in the Super Formula Lights, and in a nutshell, can be pretty tricky. Be careful of turn 2. Let's crack on with it. So Misano, what a good little circuit this is. Turn 1 is very, very fun, although there is a bump on turn in, so be careful out when it can unsettle the car. And turn 2, for whatever reason, the rear tyres do not like it, so make sure you rein it back a little bit and just get a good exit out of turn 2 without taking too much speed through it. You can take a little bit more speed, I think, but just because about the rear end stepping out, it can happen very, very easily. Quite a tight sort of start to the circuit, and then it flows out to some nice long corners with some awkward braking zones. That's going to be fun. iRacing here should be okay, to be honest. There's lots of overtaking opportunities, and there is a big long back straight with a few kinks in it as well, so that should be very, very fun going turn wide into a hairpin. Crashes will happen. Don't forget, we live stream on Wednesday and Friday, so if you do want to check that out, please like and subscribe. We've got lovely Mumbo YouTube stuff, and we should be all golden. Otherwise, this isn't a wet week on season 3, so fingers crossed we shouldn't get any wets in it. But talking about the rain, the wet around here isn't too bad. There are a few puddles, which on the moderate thing I haven't seen this season, with a moderate rain and puddles. It used to be sort of the old season where it used to be the actual torrential downpour in moderate, which I thought was a little bit weird. Anyway, this isn't too bad. These are the sessions I actually use. I use a fixed session in both, so the track conditions stay exactly the same, so I can learn where it's going, and also I can point out things to you as well. So obviously we use the 2 sessions, and then you can divulge between the 2 to find out your condition, because obviously the rain is variable. We don't know what it's going to be like if there was rain in this season, which there isn't. So this is for future you guys, by the way. There you go. Yeah, not too bad. Avoid the curves as always around here, and avoid the apexes because they're normally on a dip and they've got a bit of camber and they can generate puddles, but not too bad. Quite a high sort of abrasive circuit this, kind of like Silverstone, where the wet lines weren't too bad for grip. So yeah, not too bad at all. Really did enjoy this one. But yeah, should be for some good racing. Otherwise, that's not me waffling. Like and subscribe. I love your YouTube stuff, and yeah, let's crack on with the guide. Right then, the run down to turn 1 is pretty decent, not too bad. Probably go too wide through there on the first few laps, but be careful of turn 2, it really does tighten the radius. So you're looking over here to the left-hand side, you're looking for that white mark right there. And just as we pass it and get on top of it, we're going to dab on the brakes down into 5th gear, down to 4th. Try and hold it to the far right-hand side to really open turn 2. Now, as soon as the car's straight, gently on the brakes and then gently all the way around. Be careful about cutting too much curb, and as mentioned, be careful about getting on throttle on the exit, because you can wheel spin quite easily. Round here is absolutely flat out. Just try and minimize the steering angle as best you can. Get on the left hand side, and then just at this white line here, just before it, stand on the brakes. Nice straight line here, all the way down through the gearbox. Take it nice and easy through here. Do not run too far wide. There is a silly little off track there, but try and set up the exit as best you can. You want to compromise this corner to say far right hand side to open up this nearly flat left hander here. You can take it flat if you get the right line. If you don't, you get an off track here. So that's why I said it was nearly flat. So be cautious about that one and make sure you avoid the off track. Coming down here, down the straight now, to the very sort of open-ish hairpin. It looks tighter on the track map than it actually is in real life. It's got some lovely camber. So just before this white line over here, stand on the brakes in a nice straight line again, and then use the camber and the slight curbing here to get a lovely bit of rotation. Easy on the power here. You don't want to push wide here because there is another off track if you go a little bit too far wide. But really nice corner if you get it right, really horrible if you get it wrong. Now, there is a little white line that crosses the track right about there, look, and that's my marker. So I sort of count 1 after it and then brake all the way to the outside curb here, nice and gently, because we've still got a radius on the car, so you don't want to stand on the brakes too heavily. Nice and close to that curb, give it a little cheeky tickle on the way through, and feed in the power. Getting a good exit out there is really, really important, because this is a full throttle zone for a very, very, very long way, and this is what I mean about the slipstream. So there's 2 kinks here that are absolutely flat out, and the 3rd kink you're going to have to brake. So as the curbing starts on the left-hand side, use that as your marker. I'm not really conscious about getting an apex here. I'm just trying to minimize the steering angle and minimize the actual driving distance. This one is a little bit tighter, and you can take it flat out. So again, I missed the apex because I want to stay on the left-hand side. As soon as I get over to this white line here on this curb, this is when I'm braking for this corner. Down a cog on the gearbox, and don't take too much curb because it unsettles the car, because as soon as we get over here to this point, we need to stand on the brakes. This is a very, very tight hairpin. So that's what I mean. Coming in there with you're battling someone is going to be interesting. It's a very, very tight exit as well, with an off track on the left hand side here, so be careful about that one. But bring the car back over to the right hand side now, and as soon as you get to this curb here, start turning in. It's a nice radius corner, this one. It is flat out. Just don't take too much curb because it will bottom out the car and send you a little bit wide. You can use all of exit curb as well, so make sure you use it. Start the curb here for the last corner. This is our braking zone, so get on the curb and be careful here. I get a little bit too much curb here. You can take it without an off track, but I get a little bit of a snap oversteer, and that can affect my momentum down to the start-finish line. So just take a little bit wider and you should be golden. Otherwise, that is a lap in the drive. Very, very fun. Going to be challenging in the race, but let's crack on with the wet. Right then, wet weather time, and it is a different scenario, but there is a lot of grip on this tarmac in the wet, so it's not too bad. Kind of like Silverstone in that respect. So coming down into turn one again, we're avoiding the curb because curbs are like ice, and about the 50-meter marker, we're braking nice and gently down a few more cogs and avoiding the apex curb as best we can. Gently tippy-toe it around here, and then as soon as you get in a straight line, you start braking and then rotating the car to the other way. I'm missing the curb by a country mile because I don't need to worry about it because we're in the wet, and you did see there I got a little bit of a four-wheel drift through there. Around here, you're just playing with the throttle, trying to be delicate as best you can to avoid that sort of snap oversteer that you can see on counter steering all the way through as I'm crossing the rubber line. This little corner here, you want to come away from the curb just a little bit, just so you're nowhere near it, and you're way before the braking zone. What we were using the dry, you want to brake at the start of the grass, so nice and easy through it. This is slow enough speed that you can start taking the curves because it's not too bad. If you do have a little bit of a slide, you should be able to collect it quite easily. Again, be careful of that one there, just touching the white line and just getting a little bit too eager on the power, and it comes back and bites me in the rear end. This one, just be ginger through here, just be very delicate. It's far more better to get a good exit now than it is trying to push it a few corners back and cause a spin, because you will end up in that barrier over there on the left hand side. Same principle, straight is a straight, does what it does, but what you want to do is keep off the racing line as best you can. Now, the braking zone for this one is a lot earlier because you can't brake with the power, so we're at the first line here that comes along. Brake nice and easy, go really deep into this corner, don't go down to the apex, because I think there is a few puddles down there that you can't actually see at the moment. But if it's heavier rain, you will. So all the way around the outside and avoid the exit curb as normal because curbs are like ice. Now, this little corner through here wasn't too bad for braking, but it's very easy to lock a front brake and go off into Narnia, so be cautious about that one. We're using the white line again, and we're using the grass bit over there as well. Just brake nice and easy, gently does it, and just try and turn in as gently as you can. You've got to be really tippy-toe for this one. We need a good exit for lap time around here, so really compromise the entrance to really maximize your exit. Get on power as smoothly and easily as you can, and you should be absolutely golden. These are all flat out minus the last one as always, so don't worry about too much about these. So we're hurtling down. The slipstream will be a thing, and the spray will be even bigger as well. But yeah, just avoid the curves through here. You'll be absolutely golden. They'll easily flat out even on cold tires. This one, just avoid the apex curve, because if you do touch it, you will lose the rear end. Ask me how I know. Again, you want to stay left-hand side here for the braking zone. We're braking much earlier, literally at the end of the tarmac there on the inside of the apex of the previous corner. Brake nice and easy all the way down. Avoid the curve as you can. You see I get a little bit of a snap there. Just I'm taking in a little bit too much speed, but I managed to collect it. As soon as that gravel trap there ends, you want to start braking and brake in a nice, smooth, straight line. You can go for the curve on this one because we're going slow enough as always. Just be very gentle all the way through and be careful about picking up the power because you can wheel spin quite easily. I don't use all the track on the left-hand side because it's the rubberized line, so you might get a little bit of wheel spin through there. This one is not flat. You need to have a lift at this point just as you start turning in. Just be gentle with the car. You can feel the car twitching underneath you and you should be absolutely golden. Again, careful of the exit curbs because they are like ice. Last corner now to get it wrong or right depending on what your perspective is. Again, same principle as the dry because we're going slow into the corner, so we're using the same braking marker and nice and gently avoid the curbs, even though I do tickle it a little bit there and got away with it, but avoid the curbs as best you can and get on full throttle as gently and easily as you can without spinning out, and that is a lap of the wet. Done and dusted. If this did help you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.